All right, so you're thinking about retirement income and you want growth, but you also want to make sure that you're protected right.
Yeah,
It's
absolutely.
a tough balance.
It is.
But we're going to break it all down today.
Absolutely.
We're taking a deep dive into the Delaware Life DualTrack income fixed indexed annuity.
Right.
It could be a really useful tool if you're planning for those later chapters and you want to make sure that you have that income
Yeah.
coming in. So let's get right to it. What does this annuity actually do? How could it potentially help?
So the cool thing about this dual track is that it offers two ways to grow your retirement income. Some people want that steady guaranteed income,
Hmm.
and then they also want to have a little bit of a chance to participate in the market.
Right. So you've got a guaranteed track,
Right.
and then you've got the performance-based track.
Exactly.
So let's start with that guaranteed one. We're talking about the guaranteed lifetime withdrawal benefit, or GLWB. That sounds like a mouthful.
It is.
So what does this mean for someone who's thinking about retirement income?
Basically, the GLWB is your promise of income for life, even if the account value drops to zero. So even if the market isn't doing so hot,
Wow, okay.
you can still get that guaranteed income. And the cool part is there's this 9% compound roll-up on your withdrawal base.
Okay, so that's like guaranteed interest even when things aren't looking great out there.
Exactly.
So that's the safety net.
Yeah.
But I know there's also the performance-based track, so how does that one work?
So that track is linked to the performance of certain indexes, like the S&P 500 or the Nasdaq-100.
Oh, okay, so this is where we could see some more significant growth.
Exactly. And it has a 150% multiplier on any earned interest. So you could potentially see some really good returns.
Wow, so you're saying that if those markets do well,
Right.
then that growth could be even bigger than just the normal index growth.
Exactly.
That's interesting. Now, I heard that the two tracks can actually influence each other.
Yes. So every 5 years, there's this automatic boost feature. So if your guaranteed track is higher than your performance-based track or vice versa, the lower one is automatically brought up to match the higher one.
Oh, that's a nice little bonus every 5 years.
Absolutely.
So we talked about those market indexes. You mentioned the S&P 500 and the Nasdaq, but what other indexes are available?
There's also the Nasdaq-100 Volatility Control 12% Index,
Okay.
which focuses on tech but tries to smooth out some of the ups and downs.
Right.
And there's the Barclays Aries Index.
Okay.
It's like a mixed bag of different assets. Most of these use something called a one-year point-to-point approach to measure growth.
Okay. And for people who don't like so much risk,
Yeah,
there's always that fixed interest option.
absolutely. It's there if you want something more predictable.
Okay. That's good. Now, let's say something comes up,
Mm-hmm.
an emergency. You need to access your money. What are your options there?
You can withdraw up to 10% each year without any penalty.
Oh.
Plus, there's access for things like required minimum distributions. Now, if you need more than that, there are surrender charges and what's called a market value adjustment.
Right.
But they can be waived in certain situations, like long-term care needs or a terminal illness.
That's good to know.
Right.
Yeah, that you've got those options
Exactly.
if something comes up.
Yeah.
Now, let's talk about when retirement actually comes. How is that guaranteed income amount determined? What are the factors there?
The main things they look at are your age when you start taking the money
Okay,
and whether you have a single or joint policy.
makes sense. You mentioned something earlier that caught my attention, the chronic illness benefit. Can you tell me more about that? What is it exactly?
It's a great feature that's built in at no extra cost.
Okay.
Basically, if you can't do 2 of the 6 activities of daily living, your income payments could double for up to 5 years.
Wow, so this is like extra protection
Absolutely.
in case you need long-term care.
Exactly.
And there's no extra charge for that.
No, it's included.
Okay, that's great. So who would you say this annuity is a good fit for? Like, what's the ideal person?
Typically, it's for people between 45 and 80 years old.
Okay.
And you need to invest at least $25,000 to start.
All right, so to sum it all up,
Mm-hmm.
this dual track annuity really is all about finding that balance you were talking about
Right.
between growth potential and guaranteed income.
Yeah.
You're aiming for those higher returns, but you also have that safety net underneath.
Exactly. It's about knowing your income is protected no matter what happens in the market.
We hope this deep dive gave you a better understanding of how the Delaware Life dual track income fixed indexed annuity works and whether it could be a good fit for your retirement plan.
I think this brings up a really important question. How would having that dual approach, that balance between growth and guarantees, change how you feel about retirement?
Yeah. Would it give you more confidence?
Exactly.
Would you be able to plan more effectively knowing that you have that guaranteed income? It's definitely something to consider.
Absolutely.
So thank you for joining us for this deep dive. We'll see you next time.
Thanks for